If you're over 50 and want to cook in a way that supports long-term wellness, the oils you use every day may matter more than you think. Hey everyone, welcome back. It's great to have you here. Today we're going to have a very honest, practical, and gentle conversation about something that sits on almost every kitchen counter but rarely gets the attention it deserves. We often spend so much time looking at the quality of our vegetables, or the source of our protein, or even the amount of sugar in our pantry. But there is a silent ingredient that connects almost everything we cook. And for those of us navigating the wonderful years after 50, making a small shift in this one area can be a game changer. Most people assume that all oils essentially do the same job, just heating up the pan and preventing food from sticking. But here's the part most people don't realize. Not all cooking fats interact with our bodies in the same way, especially as our metabolism and nutritional needs evolve over time. Think about that for a moment. We often use oil multiple times a day, in our morning eggs, our salad dressing, and our dinner stir-fry. When you add that up over a week, a month, or a decade, the quality of that oil becomes a significant part of your nutritional foundation. In recent years, nutrition discussions have started to highlight that certain popular oils, which were once considered perfectly standard, might not be the most supportive options for heart health or general inflammation management as we age. It is not about fear, and it is certainly not about strict rules that take the joy out of eating. It is simply about awareness. It is about understanding that some oils are highly processed, while others are closer to nature. And knowing the difference can empower you to make choices that help you feel lighter and more energized. This is a tiny detail with a big impact on daily cooking. When we talk about wellness after 50, many people want to nourish their body with ingredients that feel lighter, simpler, and more natural. The oils we are going to discuss today are ones that many nutrition experts suggest limiting. Not because they are inherently evil, but because there may be better, more nutrient-dense alternatives available that simply do a better job of supporting a healthy system. We're going to walk through 5 specific types of cooking oils that you might want to reconsider keeping as your primary kitchen staple. Some of these might be in your cupboard right now, and that is completely okay. The goal today is simply to share what some studies have raised questions about, so you can decide what feels right for your kitchen. But before we dive into the first oil, there's a concept we need to touch on called the smoke point and stability. As we age, many of us become more conscious of how we digest food and how our body handles inflammation. Some oils are quite unstable when they are heated. When an oil is pushed past its heat limit, it can begin to break down and release compounds that many health professionals suggest we avoid breathing in or consuming. This is why the conversation isn't just about calories. It is about chemistry in the kitchen. So, let's look at the first oil on our list, which is one of the most common ingredients in the modern world, yet one that many people over 50 choose to limit for a variety of reasons. The first oil we need to discuss is soybean oil. If you look at the back of almost any bottle labeled simply as vegetable oil, or check the ingredients on salad dressings and mayonnaise, you will likely find soybean oil listed first. It is incredibly cheap to produce, which is why it is everywhere. However, nutrition discussions often highlight that soybean oil is very high in omega-6 fatty acids. While our bodies do need some omega-6s, many modern diets are overflowing with them, especially compared to the heart-friendly omega-3s we try to get from fish or walnuts. Some experts suggest that when this balance gets tipped too far toward omega-6s, it might not create the ideal internal environment for heart health or joint comfort, which are top priorities for many of us after 50. Furthermore, much of the soybean oil available on shelves is highly refined. This refining process often involves high heat and chemical solvents to extract the oil, which strips away flavor and natural nutrients. Here's where it gets interesting. Because soybean oil is so neutral and ubiquitous, we often consume it without even realizing it. It is the invisible background noise of the culinary world. For someone over 50 looking to optimize their intake, relying heavily on soybean oil for home cooking might mean missing out on an opportunity to use a fat that provides more protective benefits, like antioxidants. It is not that you need to be terrified of it, but many people find that swapping this out for a more stable, less processed option is an easy win. It is a simple way to upgrade the quality of your meals without really changing the taste of your food. Most people over 50 never check this detail on their condiment labels, but once you start looking, you will realize just how much soybean oil is sneaking into your daily routine. But the next oil is the one most people never think twice about, yet it has a history that is quite surprising. This brings us to number 2, which is corn oil. Corn oil has been marketed for decades as a heart-healthy choice, and you can probably picture the golden bottles lining the supermarket aisle. However, similar to soybean oil, corn oil is a seed oil that requires significant industrial processing to extract. Corn is not naturally oily like an olive or an avocado is. You had to put it through quite a rigorous process to get that liquid gold. This usually involves high heat, which can affect the stability of the oil before it even hits your frying pan. Many nutritionists today suggest that for those of us over 50, prioritizing oils that are cold-pressed or mechanically extracted is a gentler approach for our systems. There's also the consideration of how corn oil is typically used. It is very popular for deep frying because it has a relatively high smoke point and is inexpensive. But let's be honest with ourselves. As we enter our 50s and 60s, fried foods are often something we naturally start to crave less. Or perhaps we notice they don't make us feel very vibrant afterward. Because corn oil is so often linked to these high-heat, heavy cooking methods, moving away from it can sometimes naturally encourage a shift toward gentler cooking methods like sautéing, roasting, or steaming. It is a subtle psychological shift. When you remove the deep frying oil from the pantry, you might find yourself reaching for the roasting pan more often. Additionally, some studies have raised questions about the fatty acid profile of corn oil and whether it is the best supporter of cholesterol balance compared to other monounsaturated fats. This next oil might surprise you because it often sounds like it should be healthy, but it is actually one of the most controversial oils in the wellness community. Number 3 is cottonseed oil. Now, take a moment to think about that name. Cotton is a textile crop. It is used to make our shirts and bed sheets. The oil is essentially a byproduct of the cotton industry. Because cotton is not primarily grown as a food crop, it is treated differently in the fields than crops grown specifically for eating. Some experts suggest that this makes cottonseed oil less desirable for those of us trying to keep our dietary exposure to agricultural chemicals as low as possible. It is rarely sold as a standalone bottle in the grocery store anymore, but it is incredibly common in processed foods, baked goods, and restaurant fryers because it preserves flavor and shelf life very well. For the home cook over 50, the main takeaway here is usually avoidance of prepackaged goods that rely on this oil. Cottonseed oil is also high in those omega-6 fatty acids we mentioned earlier. When we talk about heart health after 50, we often talk about reducing oxidative stress in the body. Many wellness advocates believe that oils derived from non-food crops like cotton, which require heavy refining to be edible, may not be consistent with a diet aimed at reducing that stress. It is just another example of how we can upgrade our kitchen habits by moving closer to whole foods. If you see this on a label, you might just want to pause and ask yourself if there is a simpler alternative available. Small tweaks in the kitchen can feel empowering, not overwhelming, and simply leaving products with cottonseed oil on the shelf is a very empowering choice. But here's the part most people don't realize about the marketing of cooking oils. We are often sold on the idea of vegetable oil sounding like a salad in a bottle, but the reality is quite different. This leads us to our fourth oil, which is canola oil. Now, this is a very nuanced topic. Canola oil is derived from the rapeseed plant, and it is widely used because it is low in saturated fat. For a long time, it was the darling of heart health recommendations. However, in recent years, the conversation has become more complex. While cold-pressed, organic canola oil can be a decent option, the vast majority of canola oil found in supermarkets is highly processed using a solvent called hexane. It is then bleached and deodorized to remove the harsh smell of the original plant. Many people over 50 are choosing to limit industrial canola oil because they are looking for foods that are less tampered with. There's a growing movement toward eating whole foods, and a highly refined oil is, by definition, fragmented. Some studies have suggested that the processing of canola oil might negatively impact the delicate structure of its fats, potentially making them more prone to oxidation. When we consume oxidized fats, nutrition discussions often highlight that this does not support the health of our arteries or our cells. It is a subtle difference, but for someone who is really tuning into their body after 50, switching from a highly refined canola oil to something like extra virgin olive oil often results in meals that feel richer and more satisfying. It is about quality over quantity. And this last one often surprises everyone because it was once touted as the ultimate healthy swap. Number 5 is what we might call generic vegetable oil blends, or margarine. While margarine isn't a liquid oil, it falls squarely into this category of cooking fats. For years, we were told to swap butter for margarine to save our hearts. But history has shown us that this wasn't necessarily the best advice. Many of these blends were loaded with trans fats, and while trans fats have been largely banned or reduced, these spreads are still often a cocktail of the processed oils we just discussed: soybean, corn, and canola, often hardened with chemical processes to make them spreadable. They're designed to mimic food rather than being a simple food themselves. Most people over 50 never check this detail, but your body knows the difference between a synthetic emulation of fat and a natural fat. When you use a generic vegetable oil blend, you are essentially getting a mystery mix of whatever was cheapest for the manufacturer to source that month. There is no consistency and usually very little nutritional value beyond empty calories. For heart health, clarity is key. You want to know exactly what is in your spoon. Moving away from generic blends and towards single-source oils allows you to control the quality. It is a shift from cooking with lubrication to cooking with nutrition. It sounds like a small distinction, but it changes the entire intention of the meal. So if we're moving away from these 5 options, what are we moving toward? This is the exciting part. After 50, cooking becomes less about rules and more about nourishment. Many people enjoy switching to extra virgin olive oil for low to medium heat cooking and for dressing salads. It is loaded with polyphenol and has been a staple of heart-healthy diets for centuries. It is basically a fruit juice pressed from the olive. For higher heat, many people find it helpful to try avocado oil. It has a very high smoke point, a neutral flavor, and a wonderful fatty acid profile similar to olive oil. And yes, even small amounts of grass-fed butter or coconut oil are often preferred by older adults who want simpler, minimally processed options that their bodies recognize. When you choose oils that support how you want to feel, every meal becomes a step toward a healthier, more energized version of yourself. It is not about being perfect or never having a French fry again. It is about making your home kitchen a safe haven of high-quality ingredients. You deserve the good oil. You deserve ingredients that add life to your years. If this video inspired you to rethink your kitchen staples, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to hear which oil you're thinking of swapping out. Thank you so much for watching, and here is to your health.